he can hold to that, or what the patience level is here, because I think if he stays with Cam Newton, they better hope the schedule holds him up a little bit in the first half, because I don't think that's the long-term solution at all.
So you're a suspect on Cam going into
Yes.
the 2021 season?
Very much so. He can't throw. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback anymore.
Coast offense. I mean, there's only one other guy that's in Brady's conversation, and Brady even really brings that up, and that is the legendary Joe Montana. But I'm really loving this new Tom Brady. I'm wondering if Dan Shaughnessy for the Boston Globe has always seen this Tom Brady here. Dan, thanks for coming aboard. Dan, have you always seen this guy, or is this like a new dude?
Well, no, when he talked about that in the big effort he did over the weekend, but we have never seen this guy, and he says that. He says 90% of what I've said is just me filling space, and it's not sincere. It's not how he really feels. So now he's telling you how he really feels. He's somewhat liberated. The shackles are off, and he's out there telling you how he feels. But he was not allowed to do this here. We did not know what was under the surface the whole time he was here.
Dan, does that lead us to believe then that relationship was just strictly business and it was never personal between these two guys? And maybe that's what made it go as long as it did, was that they never got in each other's way except for on game day.
No, I think that's the best way to look at it. It's not a bad thing, but I do think it was professional and not personal. And it worked magically for the two of them, coach, quarterback, mentor, prodigy, whatever you want to call it. One helped the other. And they beat everybody's butts for most of 20 years here. So no harm in that. But while you're here, you're not really allowed to express yourself in this fashion. And Tom played along at that time.
I would throw this at you, too. The last year I'm watching Belichick do this. Oh, my God, one of the best leaders I've ever seen, Cam Newton. Holy cow, this guy's just fun to be around. And I'm going like this. Okay. I'm not sure I'm really buying this here. But Dan, maybe because Brady's there, not there, and there was always a certainty with the team going into a respected year that you were confident you were going to win the East and win 12 ball games. Is Bill doing a little motivating with the roster, and that's where he's back to being at square one again?
Well, I think he's motivated to do better this year. I mean, you let Tom go, maybe push him out the door a little bit, and then you go 7-9 without a succession plan, and he wins the Super Bowl. So that's not great for Bill's legacy. And I think you want to get out from under the notion that you can't win without Brady, or you only won with Brady. So I think that's part of what you see in the offseason, where he goes out and, commits $175 million, whatever the free agent spending. The opt-outs are back. The draft was, I think, a little bit better. They were in a better position to draft. So you have those things kind of all in play as they move ahead here. But, and the schedule is pretty favorable to them. They have a chance to get out pretty fast. I mean, I could see them being 6-3, 7-2 out of the gate before it gets really hard for them. So I think that there'll be a little bit of evening out of this. But yeah, he's got some work to do in terms of the legacy and establishing, if he cares about it, and I think he does, that he can win without Tom Brady.
There's one thing that he can do right now that doesn't really incline him to go out and win a Super Bowl, and that's run down Don Shula's all-time single season number for wins. I'm wondering, you put that on top of the all-time wins in postseason play, regular season, plus the most wins in Super Bowl. Do you think that's something important to Bill, running down Don Shula's record?
I do. I mean, Bill's all about football history. He had the famous library of football books. His dad was a member of the Lions and was a career coach, and Bill's the son of a coach. And this stuff, he's a historian. He really cares about this stuff. The only time Bill ever talked to a writer at any length was David Halberstam, who's a great American historian, and that book was a product of that. So, I do think it matters to him, and I do think the Shula thing is a goal for him, and I think it keeps him motivated. For the most part, his life's pretty good. He's around here. He's got the place in Nantucket. Up until the last year or so, he never gets challenged on anything by the fans. They love everything he does. Got a good support system, a good owner. And he always had a great quarterback. So now that's being tested a little bit. But I don't think he wants to, he used to talk about, don't want to be Marv Levy coaching in my 70s. And he's getting there. It's just a year or two away. And I think he will be that guy.
How about this, Dan? I said this about a guy like George Seifert years ago when George was in San Francisco and he had all that fabulous talent around him. He won the Super Bowl. I believe it was against the Chargers. And everybody was like, this guy's on his way to Canton, Ohio with the win percentage. All of a sudden he goes to Carolina. You're like, uh-oh, maybe that's the guy that everyone saw. I'm not saying Bill's in that conversation, but there's got to be a dimension there where people do this. He didn't win in Cleveland because that quarterback fiasco between Testaverde and Bernie.
Right.
He kind of didn't win his first year in New England. I mean, do you guys look at that a little bit and put that part of the equation now? Let's see what he can do without Brady.
Not too much. I mean, the year that Brady got hurt in 08, they won 11 games, and the Matt Castle year kind of helped him in a little bit in his favor on that. But everything else you said is true. I did not win in Cleveland. In the first year here, when Bledsoe was a starter, they were 5-11. Things were coming back a little bit, and then it flipped as soon as Brady became the starter. And we don't have any other sample until last year of what Bill is without Brady. So that's what you're looking at now. And I think he's got kind of a 3-year plan going, which is unusual for a guy his age. And this year they expect to be better, and I think next year they expect to be real good. So we'll see if he can hold to that, or what the patience level is here, because I think if he stays with Cam Newton, they better hope the schedule holds him up a little bit in the first half, because I don't think that's the long-term solution at all.
So you're a suspect on Cam going into the 2021 season?
Very much so. He can't throw. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback anymore. And if you can, protect that, and with what's around him, and take advantage of the soft schedule and groom the next guy, maybe you can get away with that. But I think he's a safe pick for Bill, with less chance of calamity, and you won't have a rookie going up against Brady in Game 4, all that sort of thing. But I can't see him as any kind of a long-term solution.
So you think maybe after the first quarter poll, the first 4 games of the year, we could start seeing maybe them starting to get some playing time for Mac Jones?
It's a big topic here, and Bill doesn't like rookie quarterbacks. He's made a living just beating their butts over the years, so he's reluctant to go there. This is going to be a fascinating topic for all of the NFL to watch as the season unfolds here.
How about the roster itself? As you know, Dan, you have to win the war of attrition. And in a division like that, where Buffalo looks like they're the lead dog in this division now, the roster itself that's been constructed, people always ask me, does this team look like a playoff team? I'm like, well, do they have depth to be able to go in and win? They had a lot of opt-outs last year. They're all coming back this year, like you said. And I agree with you. I think they could, get out to a nice start and maybe survive being like because there's 17 games this year, maybe a 10-17 this year. Do you think they have a playoff roster?
I think they win 10, 11 games. I do. And again, part of that being the schedule that they're playing, which is not that tough. And I just think that with the coaching that they have here, the system that they have here, as you say, getting Hightower back and those guys, offensively, they're a little bit of a challenge. I mean, not a lot of proven guys at the skill positions. They augmented that in the offseason with the free agent signings, but that's yet to be. We don't know what that's going to look like. And I think that they're relying on the defense to be bolstered and to keep the games low scoring and play safe, conservative football. They don't turn the ball over, that kind of thing.
Finally, here, Gary Myers was on with me the other day, and I talked to Gary, and during that Garoppolo time, I asked him, and I told him, I said, because of my relationship with the Giants, my uncle Andy Robustelli and all that, I kind of knew the Myers really well. And there was a conversation in the building. I don't know if you knew before Pat Shurmur that maybe Bill was kicking the can on potentially going and being the head football coach of the New York Giants when that whole Garoppolo thing was being bantered back and forth, that there was a power struggle inside the New England Patriots. Are you buying that fishtail, or do you think there was actually something to it?
I want it to be true. It's a little bit too good to be true, so I think I'll stay with too good to be true. I love that narrative. It would be so much fun. I don't think it got that close, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about this guy and this organization. And despite our proximity and how much we've all been around it for 20 plus years, we just don't know that much about what's going on down there. I want that to be true, but I don't think it is.
Hey, Dan, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you doing this.
Thanks, Dan. Good luck with the program.
You got it, man. Dan Shaughnessy from the Boston Globe. We really appreciate him doing